Okay, so hi everyone. So I'm here today to talk about SDRCC tools and resources. So I have two education tools to present you, but before I do that, I want to repeat myself a little bit for those who were at speed dating and for those who couldn't attend. I want to speak about the SDRCC, so who we are, what we do, and I'm gonna get to be more specific than yesterday. So, the Sport Dispute Resolution Center of Canada, we are a not-for-profit organization. We're 100% funded by Sport Canada, and we only deal with prevention and resolution of sport disputes. Most of our services are for national athletes. We do make some fee-for-service exceptions for provincial parties. All of our services are bilingual, so they're offered in both official languages. So the types of disputes that are heard at the SDRCC, so one of the most popular one is team selection, then carding, governance. We're also the anti-doping tribunal in Canada. And we also hear other types of disputes such as membership quotas, event bids, for example. So quickly, we get on average about 50 cases per year. And so our most popular type of dispute, if I can say that, is doping with 43%, unfortunately, followed by team selection at 25%, and then carding with 10% of the disputes that we hear. And that's over the last 11 years, so to give you an idea. So the average duration of cases, so I just want to point out the orange line, which is, the greenish line, which is a selection. So in the past 5 years, all of the selection appeals have been resolved within less than 20 days. So that's something, yesterday people were asking me what's the difference between you and civil courts. Well, that's a big difference. We're able to resolve appeals faster. We've resolved some appeals within 3 hours at Canada Games, and for Pan Am's in 1 day. It's another example. So we can be pretty efficient. Like it's been mentioned with Sports Solution, it's always good if we have more time. It's also better for parties to prepare. But we're on call 24 hours a day, so whenever there's an issue, we're here to help you resolve it. So the ADR process requested in ordinary disputes, so parties mostly ask for arbitration at 76% of the time, and then followed with med-arb and then mediation. Still, even if 76% of people ask for arbitration, we're able to get a 30% settlement because everybody that asks for arbitration actually have to go through the mediation process. We have a 3-hour mediation session that is mandatory, and some of the parties are able to find a settlement to their issues, which is great. So quickly, this slide is just to show you the difference between the doping tribunal and the ordinary tribunal and where we get our jurisdiction. So for the doping tribunal, we are the first instance of appeal. So when an athlete is being accused of a doping violation, they can contest that violation or the duration of the sanction at the SDRCC, so we're the first level. And then if some issues occur during the hearing, for example, in the process and the application of the policies, there could be an appeal after that at the SDRCC or at the court for arbitration for sports for international athletes. And for the ordinary tribunal, Sports Solution mentioned it, but they have to go through the internal appeal process first, unless it's waived. For example, if the federation feels that they don't have enough time to deal with the appeal, or if they don't have the resources. So if they agree, then you can come directly to the SDRCC. If not, you have to have your decision from your appeal panel. And jurisdiction is conferred through NSO funding agreements that they have with Sport Canada, so they have to recognize us as the party who resolves the sport disputes. So quickly, I just wanted to present that slide because I often get some questions. What's the difference between you and Sports Solution? Or, oh, are you the person who represents athletes in appeals? Well, the answer is no. So for Sport Solution, they've talked about their activity, but they mostly offer athlete support. So they'll represent you in your internal appeal, whether it's in your federation or if it's an appeal at the SDRCC. Another group that you might have heard of is Sport Law and Strategy Group, which represent mostly NSOs during hearings. And sometimes I know they sometimes do internal appeals for NSOs. And then the difference with us is that we are a neutral and independent tribunal, so we do not represent any athletes. We are only involved in the administrative aspect, so we'll help you if you have questions about the process. We'll find an arbitrator, we'll set up a conference call and make sure that all the parties are aware of the dispute and that everybody can participate. Okay, so other than resolution of sport disputes, we also like to focus on the prevention of disputes, and we try to do that through education. So our education objective is to develop new content and tools to further inform and educate members of the Canadian sport community about dispute resolution and effective risk reduction strategies. So we have lots of resources and we travel a lot. We're invited by sport federations to give presentations and to give them strategies to try to avoid disputes. And today I'm here to present two new tools that we have for you guys. One I presented yesterday. It's getting there, hopefully. Okay. Okay, so it's the team selection policy checklist. Some of you have taken a copy. So last year, we've asked athletes rep to bring their, one of their selection policy and then see if this tool could be helpful to give some feedback to your federation, of course, when your federation asks for feedback. So we've taken into consideration all of your comments, and so we came up with a final copy. So if you want to grab one, I still have some at my desk. So it's really to try to be proactive and find possible gaps and problems that could cause appeal along the way. So if you are asked for feedback, it's great if you can actually have a tool to help you look for potential problems. It's divided in 4 sections. So the first one invites you to take a look at the general background and introduction of your selection policy. Then the section number 2 is focused on the selection criteria itself. Section 3 on the communication and implementation of the policy. And finally, section 4, very important, the final language and vocabulary check. Especially for those of you who are bilingual, it's great if you can have a look at your federation's policies and make sure that the French and the English actually match and say the same thing, because that's an issue that we've also seen a few times at the SDRCC. So this is a great way to get involved and prevent disputes in your sport organization. So an upcoming tool that we have is called the Access to SDRCC Resolution Services. It should be available sometime next week, and we'll make sure to send the link to everybody. This tool is basically to help you identify where you stand in the appeal process. So often we get calls from athletes saying, okay, so I have not been selected, what can I do? So we have a paper version with all the links, but we also made an interactive version that asks you specific questions. So are you in a sport dispute? If you're coming to us, I'm guessing the answer is probably yes, but yes, okay, have you gone through your internal appeal process? Yes, no, and then we'll direct you exactly through, we'll take you through all the steps of the internal appeal so that you can be able to solve your issue and ultimately come at the SDRCC. And we also have the links to all the appropriate forms that you need to fill. And we also referred you to Sport Solutions and through a list of pro bono lawyers that are willing to give some free representation. So all the links, all the useful links that you might need to understand the process and be active in your appeal process will be there, and we'll make sure to send those along to you. I'll probably send it to Ashley, and I'm sure she'll be happy to send it to you guys. And I believe, yes, I have a question. Oops. Yes, I pressed. Okay. So Do you feel your NSO's team selection criteria is fair? Okay, it's moving, but it still shows that there are some issues, and that's why we try to be proactive, and that's why it's good if you have the opportunity to give feedback to your federation that you do so. So Michael, do you have a question for me?
It was wonderful. I have no questions for you.
Okay, anyone else? Okay, well, that was quick, but that was it for me. Thank you.